So I'm gonna hold off on starting until maybe a few minutes after, like 4:33 or so, just to allow, I mean 5:33, to allow people to come in a little bit late. Um, but before that, thank you for coming out today. Hi, Aaron. I've started recording, and I've let people know that we're gonna wait just a couple more minutes before we start to allow for people to come into the Zoom.
Perfect.
Okay, I know we'll probably
We
hear.
we're having a little bit trouble
Oh,
hearing you.
sorry
Oh,
about that. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us. I know we may have some people who will join us in the next 5 or 10 minutes if they're late to join us, but let's go ahead and get started. And I'd like to start with some quick introductions. My name is Tina Aguirre. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District Director. And I'll hand it over to you, Aaron, as my colleague with the district.
Hi, everyone. I am Aaron. I am the program associate with the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District. And thank you for joining us.
And your pronouns? Did you
Oh,
say
yeah.
your pronouns?
Pronouns are they and them. Thank you for
Awesome.
remembering.
Becca, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Becca. I'm the events coordinator here at Fabulosa Books. We mostly do author events, but not exclusively. And my pronouns are she, her, or they is fine.
Thank you. Pete, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was muted earlier. I had sirens going by. Pete Betancourt, Castro Street Scene, and he, him.
Thank you. And I see we have another person on the Zoom. It says Lorenzo here. Lorenzo, if you can unmute yourself and if you were willing to come on camera to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Hello, I'm so sorry. My camera is not available right now, but I'm Lorenzo. I use they, them pronouns. And what was the other question?
It's really just to introduce yourself. If you wanted to
Oh,
share, if you're with the small business, the name of your small business, you can do so.
I'm still trying to decide what kind of business I'm trying. I'm trying to like branch into business, so I'm just looking to see what opportunities there are for me.
Okay, that sounds good. Welcome all. So I am just happy that the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District is distributing more small business grants. Some of you may already have received. I know Fabulosa has received support from the district previously. And Others, you may have already heard about our small business support in the community. The intention of this Q&A is to offer any information that might help in clarifying if this is a match for you to submit an application, and if you have specific questions about the application and the review process that we can answer. I am recording this so that we can share this on YouTube, by social media, for people who may have missed this and could benefit from the conversation. So thank you for your allowing me to record this and then share it out. As you may have all already seen, hopefully, the application is on our website and it was shared on social media. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat box as well, in case people can use access to that page. It has all of the information that's needed, and what I'll just outline of some of the details of the process. So the biggest one being our deadline. The deadline is Friday, July 21st, 2023 at 5 p.m. And then the guidelines for submissions include that all applications should be no more than 3 pages, and they should all be emailed to me. My email address is part of the application process. We will provide notifications by August 15th and distribute funds by October 1st. We're hoping that this grant focuses on activations, 2 activations per each small business. That would be supported by $6,000 per small business. That means $3,000 for each activation. We hope that the first set of activations would occur before December 1st, 2023, and the second set of activations no later than June 8th, 2024. Eligibility requirements include that all businesses should be on the map of the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District. If you have a brick and mortar space, businesses that cater to the Castro are eligible, including pop-ups. All businesses should be registered with the city and their permits in good standing. That I'm going to pause there to also share that should happen. All of that should be in place before submitting your application. So eligibility requirements in this context means if you do not already have permits by the date of submission of the deadline, you will be deemed immediately ineligible. And my recommendation would be to not submit an application and to wait until for another cycle, if that's the case. The grants are not open to nonprofits, in case that's helpful. We have in the past received inquiries from nonprofits who are interested in applying for funds. These funds are intentionally dedicated to small businesses. And as context, what I'm happy to share is this is funds for this particular round of small business grants is from the Office of Economic and Workforce Development through a grant that they provided to us. Let's see, other eligibility requirements are that pre-venture businesses and existing businesses may apply for these funds. Previous grantees from the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District Small Business Grants may also apply. So I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to take up too much time. If that allows for more questions, that I think would be super helpful if that's the case. So I'm wondering, with the little that I've shared and also the link to our application, if there are any questions that come to mind.
So can you talk, yeah, hi, can I, all right.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what an activation is and how, like, how do you decide how much to fund per activation? Is it just like, oh, we like what you're saying, here's $3,000, or I assume not? How specific does this budget need to be?
I like that question. It actually is what you assumed it would not be. We're just going to distribute the grants to the businesses so that they can be used for, let's say, $3,000 per activation. We're not going to base that on budgets that are submitted. It's more if the activations make sense in terms of increasing foot traffic and then how the monies are spent can include um, staffing or hiring somebody to help produce the event, um, plan the event, advertising, supplies. Um, Advertising in particular, I want to mention again because advertising in, let's say, the Bay Area Reporter can be really expensive. We just did an ad, a full page ad, a couple of weeks ago, and it was $1,800, which I learned was, oh, that's actually kind of a lot of money, and for one ad. So that means if you wanted a series of ads leading up to your activation and it was a smaller ad, that could be a good use of the funds. Um, I think other than that, let's say if people are part of their activation is to have something outside of the business. So an activation can be either inside the business or on the sidewalk with signage and to bring people into the business. Um, that might include some expenses, let's say signage, creation of signage, if there are any like flyers or social media ads that are going to support the promotion of the activation, that would make sense as an expense as well. And then some businesses may choose to hire talent or somebody that will be a part of the activation. That would be a valid expense as well. I don't know, and I'm trying to avoid um, being specific to Fabulosa because I want to be fair to everybody and offer information that's consistent, can be interpreted by everybody, and um, and I acknowledge that you do have programming that could be adopted for an activation if you need.
And sorry, I'm not trying to hog the mic here. Is an activation a single event or can it be a series of events?
It's most likely a one event, although if it were to happen over a short amount of time, that could also make sense. I think it kind of depends on the business. So it really is. I don't want us to dictate really too much, and because each business really will know what might work. Also, we acknowledge that this is an investment in growth, and it hopefully will work, and it will increase foot traffic. It also may not. The truth is, we acknowledge that many times marketing and activations are not high on priorities list for small businesses who are really just trying to make it or are new to doing this work. So part of the intention of this grant opportunity is to say we acknowledge this is something that could help businesses, and a grant that's specifically dedicated to this might be a good way for a business to invest in an activation and some marketing that they might not otherwise do. I hope that's helpful.
Super helpful.
I will share from Fabulosa as a previous grantee what we learned from your business, Alvin in particular, was that there was not, and Fabulosa is not alone in this, that there were no funds really being dedicated for marketing and for activations prior to the first grant that we provided to Fabulosa. And that really did inform us. And it wasn't just Fabulosa, it was almost all of the grantees of our first cycles.
Well, thank you
Hence,
for that, because that got me my job. So
yes,
and we've
you
had
can.
50 in the year that I've been here, we've had 50 events.
I am so happy to hear this. I know Aaron and I work behind the scenes on all of this stuff, and it's amazing. Aaron, do you want to share anything really quickly before we go on to another question, maybe?
Yeah, just that's really exciting to hear, and I'm super happy to hear that Fabulous has been having some events and getting folks to come in and check out your programming.
Oh yeah. Like some of our events are like at capacity. So it's definitely successful. So thank you. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I am wondering, and I was planning to that this Q&A would be probably 30 minutes. I don't want it to be too long. I know businesses, making time for even making time for this Q&A is a challenge. So I'd like to see if Pete and then Lorenzo have any questions, and then if not, I'll come back to you, Becca, to see if you have any other questions. Pete, do you have any questions?
Thanks, Tina. I just wanted to clarify one question. I think I heard that this grant does not go to nonprofits. Was that correct? So,
Yes.
for example, if Castro Street Scene is, I guess, fiscally sponsored by the Castro Benefits District, that would not sort of qualify that program specifically for this grant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, all good. I think there's a sort of a different approach, but that's my only question at this time. So thank you.
I'm sorry. I imagine that's not the answer that you would have liked to have heard. And I understand that there nonprofits also are or projects that are fiscally sponsored also are in need of financial support. And this coming from a contract with the Office of Economic and Workforce Development has a clear intentionality behind it. And it is focused on literally small businesses. And what I'll share, not just with you, but the group and anybody who watches this maybe afterward, is that our process and the Small Business Grants Program was created with the Office of Economic and Workforce Development in terms of their best practices. And so one of them being that applicants for their programs need to have licensing and all of their permits in good standing prior to submitting applications. We observe that as a best practice as well. And we acknowledge that not even all small businesses are there yet. So a pre-venture business that does not yet have is not registered as a small business is also not eligible for this grant. Yes.
I understand. Great. No, I think you answered my question and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And I will share, this is a little bit of an aside, but I did do grant writing in nonprofits for decades in San Francisco. And I do encourage you to seek funding, corporate funding, foundation funding, institutional funding. Because you really do have, as a fiscally sponsored project, many opportunities to get funding, whereas many small businesses do not, and that those foundations and corporate giving programs would not deem small businesses eligible for those funds. Hence the intentionality around eligibility.
Understand. Thanks again.
You're welcome. And Lorenzo, I saw in the chat box that you have no questions. Thank you for putting that in the chat box. Feel free to share any questions that pop up at a later time by emailing me. And Aaron, is there something that you wanted to to add? I wasn't sure if you had something that you wanted to share right now.
Yeah, Lorenzo, you did share that you're curious and you just wanted to hear about like the services that we could provide and how you can get started. And I just wanted to let you know that there is another great resource at the SF LGBT Center. They have a small business services center that they work in like consulting with folks that are curious about starting their own business. So I'm going to drop a link into the chat box and you could check out their website just to see, yeah, if you can get some information on how to get started. Because I know it's it's hard just to get started once you get your foot in the door, though. Oh, you've seen it. Okay, amazing. Glad to hear that.
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, I will share that for new businesses, people who are contemplating opening businesses, the incubation program at the center is great, and I highly recommend that. Um, I'm wondering, Becca, if you have any other questions. And I see Lorenzo that Aaron has shared the link for you to access. So I'm glad that. Thank you for doing that, Aaron. And Becca, I'm wondering if you have any other questions before we
I
end
think
this.
I'm good. I might email like at some point but I need to go rescue my coworker at this juncture.
Okay, then I'll do. I think with Lorenzo and Pete not having any other questions, I'm just going to say thank you for showing up today. And all of this is deserves support. And I'd say Lorenzo and Pete, knowing that there's questions in terms of eligibility, I want to share that all of this in terms of community inputs is needed and important. And I wish you luck. Thank you all. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Take
You.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.